I thought of making this piece simply based on a comment, and I was just sitting back with my eyes closed and thinking, and a lot of thoughts crossed my head as they often do. And if I'm able to get down to recording it, it can be a good learning. So I finally managed to do that right now. And what is the comment? The comment really was, someone on the insiders telling someone else that you should not follow anybody else. You should do your own thing. You should have your own plan. Should have your own system. Is he right? The answer is absolutely yes. I'll say, how the heck is that? Aren't we following your system? Aren't we trying to listen to what you're seeing on the markets? Sure, I have an opinion, but when it comes down to execution, if you don't have a plan that you really own up, you would end up being like many people who spend their entire lives blaming others for everything. They blame others for their careers going bad. They blame others for them not getting the opportunities that they would have. Some people blame their parents all their life for not having helped them get somewhere, or not having done something for them at some point of time. You can live your life in a blame game, but how far does that really get you tomorrow? I mean, that's yesterday's news. So the same thing is applicable to your approach to markets. If I tell you this is a system that works for me, okay, great. And then you start, trying to learn it and, follow it. And if you don't get the hang of it, you say, okay, fine, let me just, follow him and try to do this. You're still not going to be, completely satisfied. And the reason is that every time something goes wrong, you're going to be blaming the system. You're going to be blaming the person who's, passing it on to you and who you're trying to follow. And the reason is that you don't own it. It's not your system, So it's very, very important that even if you learn something, is this system mine? What I'm doing, Elliott wave, momentum, RMI, is this mine? The answer is it's not. Because where did I learn Elliott wave principle? I learned it from the book Elliott wave principle. Frost and Proctor, he learned it from R. N. Elliott. So definitely it's not my system, right? And then if I learned about Bollinger Bands, momentum trading, let's give that to Martin Pring. Let's give it to John Maggie. Let's give it to all the people, including Charles Dow, as to what I have learned and then put together into a system. So the day it becomes my system, how does it become my system if it's everybody else's? It becomes my system when I make it a part of my life every day, a process. I start believing in it, following it, and I own it up. I own my system. I own it up that if I make a mistake tomorrow and I lose money, I'm not going to blame Martin Pring. And the reason that was really possible is that when we learned from books, it was not one-on-one, right? I had to learn it and do it myself. There's no choice, that I'm following Martin Pring on his site and then I'm blaming him. Like, it's not an option. And so you have to get to the point where you really own up the processes and systems and execution that you're really doing. Because then you have no one else to blame. Right? So every time I go wrong, I have no one else to blame. I only have to believe that my system works, and I need to apply myself and do it the next month and the next month and the next month. So even if I make a mistake and things go bad, I know the system will work. I need to correct myself, bed size rightly, and get right back out of it. And that is the only thing that really works in the end to keep you going and growing overall financially in the long term. So if that is your objective and that's what you're really trying to get at, you want to, get a system where you have confidence. Because see, how are you going to get confidence on your system unless you own it up? When you own up something, you believe that, yeah, this is mine. I have put this together. I believe in it. Then you're going to follow it to the T because it's yours. It's not someone else's. And you'll have the confidence to take the next trade. That's finally the answer to success, is that if you have a system that works only 70% of the time and it's wrong 30% of the time, there's someone else trying to tell me wrong from Jan to Feb, you're wrong this month in August. Okay. How many months is that? 4 months in a year. Great. That's 33%. What are you going to do for the 66% of the time that you are right? So are you going to simply cry about it? Sulk? Yeah, that's the word I was searching for. So you're just going to sulk? or you're going to make the most of it, because you know you have a system that works X percentage of time. Finally, that's the system. If you don't have such a system, then of course you need to go and look for a system. But if you have a system that works 70% of the time, it's not going to work, exactly in a particular pattern. Right, wrong, right, wrong. Then you'll know exactly when then how will it be 70%? It will be 100%. You know when you're going to go wrong. So you never know when you're going to go wrong. It could be right, wrong, right, wrong, right, wrong, right. How about that as a pattern? If you get 3 to 4 wrongs in a row, that's it. Either your account has blown up or you have lost trust and faith in the system just before it goes right the next 10 times in a row, which would be a super winning streak. And that's where the whole debate between, even if those who studied random walk, versus can the market be predicted. This whole argument is based on just this, what I just mentioned, right, wrong. If it's an order. So the random walk guys say markets are random. It can be right anytime, wrong anytime. So why bother? Okay. The randomness, like I mentioned, does exist. If your system works 70% of the time, you don't know when it's going to be right and wrong. You just know it's going to be 70%. You just know the end result. And that is, so how do you deal with that kind of randomness? You deal with it with bet sizing. And that's sort of a reason why we, play card games and try to learn the aspect of bet sizing, that if you size your positions correctly, if you, move based on what is happening to you back and forth, increasing the bet size when you have a winning streak, cutting back on the bet size when you have a losing streak, you are sort of able to go through a bad patch and manage your liquidity in a way that when the good patch comes in, you are there and you're capable of putting your foot in and making the most of it. And even if you did make a mistake, because we are all human, we're going to make the mistake of breaking some rule and the bad patch gets worse than it should have logically by theory of the system. If you really believe in your system, because that's what owning it up means, then you know that you still need to do something and get back in and make a comeback. And that you will not be able to do. That confidence you will not have unless you own the system, unless you believe that this works. And to get that belief, you'll have had to try it out a sufficient number of times to see it working for you. So the learning curve really is about, even if you lower the bet size and do your learning curve, it doesn't mean you have to pay the market a price for learning. That is very huge. It could be a smaller price if you reduce the bet size and do it, but you'll need to execute your system over and over again to get confidence in the system to the degree where you start owning it up. You believe that, yes, this is my system. If I see this kind of a setup, I'm going to buy. If I see this kind of a setup, I'm going to sell. And it's not because Rohit said so or anybody else said so. It's because I believe that this works most of the time. And that's when you'll have made that difference. That's when you'll have overcome the emotional quotient aspect of trading, because even after having a system which is 70% right or 65% right, some people even day trade at 33% right because their losing trades are cut very, very fast. So every trader is different. They have a system. Their success really comes from their confidence in what they see on the screen, on the charts, or whatever it is that they're looking at, and they own it up, and so they know what they're doing and what they need to do next, and how they will achieve that end goal eventually with the capital that they have. And to gain that confidence, you would have to really have tried out your system sufficient number of times to see it through the ups and downs. And during that period, you would have gone through your own emotions, because even if your bet size is not 10 lakhs and it's only 10,000, you'll still feel the pain of emotions of being right and wrong, and losing money, and then trying to figure out why that happened and how do you handle the emotional part of being wrong. And once you've done that, you've owned up your system, you've got confidence that it works, and you know what to do when things go right and wrong. You'll not be blaming anybody else for the rest of your life on the trades that you do. You'll actually be happy on maybe even sharing your entire journey and experience with others so that they can gain much more for it. So that's my message to all of you after having read a couple of these posts and these thoughts. I've just put them together, and I completely forgot for a while that I'm recording this on Teachers Day, and a lot of you have been wishing me, so thank you very much. So it ends up being a Teacher's Day message. But let me tell you so much, I never wanted to be a teacher. So let me not even call myself that. A mentor, sure. While there are similarities between the two words, it's very, very different, because it involves a lot more than, simply, standing in a class and giving a lecture, versus actually hand-holding people through the process and making them learn a lot more than they would through what is happening in real time. So that's the approach with which I'm trying to educate through the Indiacharts platform, and I thank you all for supporting it. And surely we always see every day, every week, every month, a lot of people giving up and going away, and that's a reality. But for people who can imbibe what I just spoke of, I think very, very important parts of the knowledge process, because it doesn't end with the science of markets. It ends with the overall learning about yourself, your own behavioral patterns that make all the difference to whether you're going to be successful or not in the financial markets, trading or investing. Thank you.